Well, it's left a nasty cramp in my leg, so kneeling will be hard for me.
There is absolutely nothing better than sitting down on the couch after a long day at work and relaxing in the presence of an incredible movie. Even better if you've just had a bad day and need to see some savage moments in order to make yourself feel better. And luckily for all of us, there are some amazing moments out there where our characters have gone beast mode to the delight of fans. But what are some of the most savage moments in the history of cinema, and who are the characters that made it happen? Well, whether you're a fan of this type of movie or you just want to reflect on some of the greatest moments of our generation, then you've come to the right place, as we're going to explore some of the most savage movie moments that some of our favorite characters have had. So strap yourselves in and get ready for some anger management, as things are about to get interesting. But before we get into the video, please don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel, as well as hit that post notification bell so you never miss another update from us. Superman ending General Zod once and for all. Fans of the DC Universe are going to be the first to tell you that Clark Kent, otherwise known as Kal-El or Superman, is one of the strongest characters in the entirety of the multiverse that does make up DC. In fact, some would even argue that he could just beat about any character from the Marvel comic universe as well, as there are not many weaknesses that the Man of Steel possesses. I mean, sure, he doesn't do that well with magic or glowing rocks, but he's also considered to be highly intelligent and is thus able to see a way around troubling scenarios. And it's because of his immense strength and level of intelligence that Superman does often find himself dealing with problems in the least savage way possible. What's the point in making a mess when you can just fly over to somebody and knock them out before they even have a second chance to think, right? Compared to Bruce Wayne, otherwise known as the Caped Crusader or Batman, Superman is far less savage. This is a point that's been made by Batman on many occasions in both the movies and comics featuring the two characters. When speaking on the topic who would actually win in a fight between them, Bruce had the following to say about the Man of Steel. Quote, "If Clark wanted to, he could use his super speed to squish me into the cement, but I know how he thinks. Even more than the kryptonite, he's got one big weakness. Deep down, Clark's essentially a good person, and deep down, I'm not." We saw this sentiment come to life in the 2013 film Man of Steel, where Superman was finally confronted by other Kryptonians who were just as powerful as him. The fight between him and General Zod is legendary in the DCEU, and sees both Clark and Zod diminishing the city of Metropolis in an attempt to finish each other off. But while Zod is clearly trying to bring Superman's life to an end, the same can't be said about Clark, who wants nothing more than to restrain his Kryptonian brother and find out more about his home planet. After trying to take the fight out of harm's way but failing, Superman finds the only way to prevent the death of innocent lives is to snap Zod's neck in one swift motion, which is an action still to this day that divides many fans. And not just because of how savage the action was, but because of who actually committed it. And they say Marvel invented the snap, the fall of the Dark Phoenix. Speaking of Marvel, our savage moment comes from the days when Sony Pictures still held the rights to the X-Men franchise, bringing these mutants to our screen before the MCU existed. The original trilogy of the X-Men films does remain some of the best displays of superhuman abilities to this day, with Jean Grey, as portrayed by Famke Janssen, being one of the most powerful of the bunch. But it wasn't until she was taken over by the Phoenix Force in X-Men The Last Stand that we truly saw the incredible power of this Omega-level mutant possession, causing her to show us some of the most savage moments from the history of the franchise. One of these moments was when Wolverine, as brought to life by Hugh Jackman, is trying to convince her that Professor Xavier can help her get her powers under control. Clearly the wrong thing to say at the moment, as Jean's eyes turn black as she yells, "I don't want to fix it," forcing Wolverine against the wall of the hospital room with her immense telekinesis powers. Strangely enough, the most savage moment from the film actually comes from her defeat. After being in love with her for the entirety of the franchise, Wolverine finds himself within claw distance of her. Knowing full well that she won't stop until the human race is wiped from the earth, he finally tells her how he feels, then plunges his adamantium blades into her stomach. With a loud scream, the Dark Phoenix leaves her body along with her life. It's a moment that still pains us to think about, and explains why Wolverine is so against letting people in and falling in love. Sorry, Jon Snow, but our boy Wolverine did it first, becoming the one. The Matrix as a trilogy will always be a classic placed on the same shelf as other incredible franchises such as The Lord of the Rings and Harry Potter. In fact, some would even argue that the philosophical implications of the trilogy are more important nowadays with the rise of artificial intelligence. But as significant as the franchise is, it may be the first movie that was released back in 1999 that really gets the award for one of the most savage moments in all of cinema history. When the film starts out, Neo is is nothing more than a hacker with a dead-end job who ends up finding himself being haunted by a number of agents wearing jet black suits. We then end up joining him on a profound adventure where he ends up discovering the truth that the world is nothing more than a simulation and that the true world is actually under attack from sentient robots. He also comes to be described by Morpheus, as portrayed by Lawrence Fishburne, as the One, who will end up saving the world from both the agents and the Sentinels that patrol the real world. Fast forward to the end of the movie, and we end up seeing that Neo has been shot by Agent Smith and is slowly fading away into the real world. Luckily for him, however, Trinity is there to admit just how much she loves him, with her kiss invigorating him and ending up causing him to stand up against the agents once more. But this time, things are a little different. Viewers watch in amazement as Neo, who can now see the Matrix as it really is, stops the bullets using shot at him by holding up his hand. He then proceeds to take on Agent Smith with one hand held behind his back, showing that he has become the One and is now in control of the world that the agents previously ran. And to end things off, he ends up taking Agent Smith out in the worst way possible by jumping right into his chest and breaking him apart from the inside. If there's one scene that you need to watch ASAP, it's this one. This is Sparta. There is no doubt that Zack Snyder definitely has a certain quality about his directing style. As similar to Man of Steel, the next movie on our list was also directed by him. We're of course talking about 300, which was at the time of its release heralded as one of the greatest movies insofar as cinematography and combat encounters were concerned. Everybody remembers the incredible formations that the 300 Spartan warriors had used to fight against the advancing Persian armies, as well as the rock-hard abs that they ended up showing off while doing so. And while there were more than a couple of savage moments in the film, from the various fighting scenes to the end scene where King Leonidas makes Xerxes bleed for the first time, there is one moment that reigns supreme over all others. After being introduced to the Spartans for the first time, and seeing just how brutal of a people they can be, we witness the envoy of Xerxes visiting the city. This messenger demands a tribute from Sparta to the great god king himself, and manages to do this in a way that is both arrogant and fear-inducing. He goes on to explain that if Sparta does not give tribute, the city will be burned to ash, as the justice of the god king will be swift. After listening to what the messenger has to say, King Leonidas pauses for a couple of seconds, thinking over the demand and then what bending the knee would mean for Sparta. He then looks directly into the eyes of the envoy and shouts, "This is Sparta," before aggressively kicking him into the pit with no end. The savagery of this moment cannot be denied, with the kick from the moment on being named the Spartan kick and the utterance of "This is Sparta" being used to pump up crowds at sporting events around the world. Like we said, there's just something about Zack Snyder and how he directs that ends up getting our blood pumping, and this is a great example of that. Obi-Wan facing off against Darth Maul. Lastly, we've got a moment that we've watched over and over and over again since it was first released in the form of Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. Throughout the duration of the film, we ended up learning that the key to becoming a Jedi is the refusal to give in to negative emotions that could be felt in a variety of situations. By far, one of the greatest Jedi masters, Qui-Gon Jinn, spends quite a lot of time trying to teach his Padawan, Obi-Wan Kenobi, that this is indeed the way, as anger and fear end up leading to Jedis being tempted by the dark side of the Force, often coming out as Sith Lords like Darth Maul. And it is towards the end of the episode that we see which Force powers are indeed the best, with Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan coming face to face with Darth Maul in a fight on Naboo. Being an intelligent fighter, however, Darth Maul decides to split the two Jedi up, causing Obi-Wan to watch as he gets the better of Qui-Gon Jinn in battle. We watch in anticipation as the anger starts to swell up inside of him, clearly upset by the fact that his master is dying and that there's nothing he can do about it. But just then, the barrier goes down, which allows Obi-Wan to launch an attack against Darth Maul, using all of the anger that he has inside of him to guide him. It's not at all the Jedi way, which makes his furious movements and eventual defeat of the Sith Lord all the better. So, what do you think of our savage moments? Feel free to let us know in the comment section down below, and thanks so much for watching. Until next time, guys, we'll see you later.